Hello and welcome to our next episode in our review of the season 5 of the 100. We just got done watching episode 6, Exit Wounds, and I really enjoyed it. I think you really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
About halfway through, you said to me that you felt like the episode was going pretty quick, which is usually a good sign. That means that you were enjoying the content. And while I felt like it was going by pretty quick, I felt like there was a lot going on, and it wasn't like a wasted episode where it just like flashed by and not a lot happened in that hour. I thought that there was some really interesting stuff with Octavia and Maddie from right from the beginning of the episode all the way to the end. They kind of started off with Clark lying to Octavia about Maddie being a synthetic Nightblood, said that she saved her, and then used her synthetic Nightblood to create another one, which sounds kind of curious, and I would be a little bit suspicious of that story too, and it sounds like pretty much everyone is, from Nyla to Gaia.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit suspicious of Gaia, even after she said that she wanted to protect Maddie. I felt like a part of her may have still been loyal to Octavia, and maybe just pretending, using her past to get close um, to Clark and Maddie. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think she was being genuine? She actually wants to protect the last Nightblood, or has she kind of actually given up that?
So I feel like she's too smart to you know what I mean, to be loyal to Octavia. I feel like she. I mean, I'm not that. I mean, like, I think she's too smart to have just blindly gone to that. You know, I feel like she decided to be loyal to Octavia because to save herself.
Is practical is the smartest move that she could have made in the short term, and if that was the only way to preserve the faith, that was the way to preserve the faith, and that's what I think would be the more interesting direction to take the character. It's still up in the air. I think they could easily take her down the other direction. She's still loyal to Octavia, so we'll see where they go with that, and I'm pretty sure the next few episodes there'll be some kind of storyline where Maddie's not safe with Octavia for whatever reason, and they have to go over to the other side. I think Maddie's going to end up on the other side, and for whatever reason she's going to be the cure. Probably her Nightblood, the fact that she's got like real, genuine Nightblood, will be the cure to this disease that's threatening all the miners. And that means that she won't be safe anywhere. They're gonna have to go away from this safe place or kill everyone, and that's not what Clark's gonna want to do. That's not what Maddie's gonna want to do. So, yeah, either they're gonna have to just leave, or there's gonna need to be some kind of interesting twist that none of us see coming. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a new faction, something that they haven't given any hints about. That's something very different, maybe a government from another country, or who knows, under the sea, something weird like that. We might see people from another planet, because they did mention another planet, another episode, that they sent off a couple other spaceships like that, mining one, that were kind of looking for habitable places for people to set up colonies, and it's very possible that those people could be coming back to Earth to look to see what happened, or to see if they can help reestablish Earth for whatever reason. But that's what I'm hoping they'll do at the end of the season. We'll see sooner or later. It looks like they're going to be taking a break next week, and then they'll be back again the week after that. I wasn't sure what their schedule's going to be like, because sometimes people take a big long break over the summer. But I'm hoping they don't. I hope we get little bits here and there, because that week in between this episode and the other one, or rather the 2 weeks in between them, it felt like a long time to me, and I definitely missed my 100. I remember at the beginning of the episode you said something to me about how when Octavia cut off the head of the speaker, it reminded you of a Greek myth.
Well, Hydra. Hydra's not exactly like an unknown thing anymore because of what, Marvel.
Hydra's in Marvel. It's you can't cut off.
You can't cut off. I mean, the head. If you cut off the head of the snake, it just grows two more in its place. That's just what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I like that analogy, because it definitely reminded me of Octavia. You know, she draws a lot from the past, and I think that this show definitely likes to use those types of
legends and
storytelling and motifs from Greek stories. So it's cool to see that you drew that parallel. And I'm wondering if there's anything else other people maybe saw and that we missed. So if you do want to put anything in the comments below about possible analogies, I'd be very interested in talking about that. One of the interesting comments that I saw recently in one of my videos was about Nyla. I know somebody, I think his handle is like Ponyboy Curtis, said, yeah, I know, I like that handle, by the way. He thought that Nyla may have died in the bunker because we hadn't seen her, or I think he thought Nyla maybe didn't survive some kind of encounter with Diyozo or died in the bunker, because we hadn't seen her much outside of the bunker. And that might be like a loss that kind of drove Octavia to be a little bit more ruthless. And I'm pretty happy that Nyla's still alive. I'm not entirely sure if she's anything like what she used to be. I'm pretty sure that her being nice to Clark was just a facade. It is probably going to be different than what was going on with Gaia. I think she didn't actually feel very sincere emotions towards Clark and Maddie. I think she was there just to get information, and that anything...
I don't think so.
You think she actually still...
I think she's one of the more genuine characters in the 100.
She used to be, but after 6 years she could have gone through a lot with Octavia, and I think that she may have been putting up a bit of a front for to get information, because she presents herself as a really nice person, but that could make her a pretty formidable spy. So I guess we have different feelings on Nyla too. We think that her character will...
my other instincts have been right, so...
Yeah, like with Amori and Murphy. You were pretty happy when they had that kiss, weren't you? You jumped.
Well, I know. I got excited. Well, I got excited because I was right.
Yeah.
Not because of what was going on.
Yeah.
It was kind of creepy, honestly. But,
what, when they burnt those people?
They're like, death. Yeah.
Super sexy time. That's what they like. Well, they've been through a lot
and then
together.
McCreary just comes in, like, blown to bits.
Somehow not dead.
I know! And, like, I wonder if the other people, like, was he, like, I guess he must have been the farthest away.
He said
from
spread
the
out.
explosive. But
And
he was also on the inside of the explosive, so he had to,
one
like...
guy walked right up to the explosive, I thought.
No, I know, but McCreary was, like, if the explosive was here, he was, like, further into the cave from it than the other two, who were, like, right next to it.
I thought he was closer to the entrance.
No, because he was like, I'm gonna go find the thing, and like, went past it.
Yeah, that's
Which is interesting.
funny.
Like, did the cave collapse and he like had to crawl out in like 35 seconds, or what?
I'm glad he's alive. I'm glad he's gonna be Murphy's hostage, because I think he's
mad.
a funny guy. Like, he's a really creepy dude, but he's funny, and Murphy's great. So now that he's the prisoner instead of Murphy, because McCreary was torturing Murphy not too long ago. It's gonna be great to see what they end up doing with that. In the next episode, I imagine they'll resolve that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll try and create a new society, and part of that is McCreary gets to live.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I feel like McCreary is not really liked by anybody, right? I don't think he really will have the capacity to be necessarily.
No, he's liked by a lot of prisoners. He's liked by the worst part.
Yeah, but I don't... I mean, never mind.
They might need him. But I think I get what you're saying what you're saying there. I really liked how Echo was offered a place in one crew in exchange for turning over people's lives, like turning over the defectors, because I felt like Octavia wouldn't have done that for anyone else. She did that because Bellamy asked for a favor, and that was the best she could do in that situation.
I mean, did she actually offer her a place in one crew?
She said that your banishment will be lifted in exchange for defectors' names, or at least that's what I wrote down.
I don't think that's necessarily, like, admission into one crew.
Well, at least she wouldn't
like, banned, yeah.
have to fight in the arena, and I think that in turn might mean she would have to eventually become one crew. I'm not entirely sure, actually. They didn't explain that too much. They didn't go into too much detail. But I did feel like there's still some good left in Octavia. They're kind of showing that in that scene, and then when Maddie came to her, she didn't kill Maddie. She decided to bring her in and keep her secret. And it would have been easier.
That's true, but this whole episode has been about how Octavia like is extremely methodical and will use her words in a way just to be like very particular. Does that make sense? So like she'll find loopholes and stuff. The whole episode's been about that. I don't really think that Octavia is like genuinely like being nice to Maddie.
Right.
At all.
Okay. I hadn't really thought about that. We did talk a little bit about them.
I mean, why would she be so weird about it? Like coming up to, Clark and be like in her ear at the end, whispering.
She's never really liked Clark, has she?
No, but they were pretty good friends at the end of the last season, right?
I forget exactly. I mean, from what I remember, they've had a lot of hatred between them because Clark would take the ruthless route and Octavia would be like, no, be merciful, don't be like people on the Ark. And I feel like there's a little bit of resentment there because Octavia doesn't think Clark's good enough for Bellamy in a weird way. I think that she's kind of just like, she can kind of see that they're developing a really strong relationship, and she doesn't want that to turn into like anything more than it is at that point. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of trying to eliminate Clark for that reason. At least I've felt that way for a long time. Like she doesn't like her for a reason that isn't necessarily expressed. Like sure, she has a rational reason, but there may be an irrational reason for her hating Clark. So it may have been just her way to get at Clark. We did talk a little bit about the meaning of the title of the episode, Exit Wounds. They started off with a wound, the creature that infected Octavia. Yep. Her wound was her being tended from that thing at the beginning. There was a wound at the end of the episode with that Echo had the USB.
In Karina's bullet hole.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting how you brought up the thing that Maddie and Octavia did at the end of the episode, binding, basically taking Maddie into one crew as being kind of like an exit wound. There was a wound involved, and she was kind of exiting Clark's care and entering Octavia's care. So I thought that was really cool. How like there's a lot of places that you can kind of tie that name into and kind of get drawn and draw meaning from. I'm sure there's like a lot of other things that we missed, and if you're thinking of anything that we didn't mention, I'd be really interested in seeing that kind of stuff in the comments below. I'm not too sure if there's much else that I wanted to say here. I did like that they were putting the bomb collars on the new recruits. Those bomb collars remind me of the bomb collars in Fallout. You wouldn't know this, but
okay.
They've drawn a lot of inspiration from Fallout. Like when they were down in Mount Weather, it felt like a vault, and a lot of the themes that they had throughout the past felt like some of the themes that they had in Fallout. And they definitely had bomb collars in a lot of the earlier Fallout things, and I think that's pretty cool that they're starting to use those themes in this show, because I didn't see that coming, and I probably should have. It's a pretty predictable sci-fi trope to kind of start using in this show. But
well, really quick, we didn't talk about Cooper at all.
Oh yeah, Cooper.
That was pretty exciting to see her kind of take on like a bigger role. I know this episode's kind of getting long, but the way that she did the same thing as Echo did in the tournament, or is that what they called it? Tournament?
I forget what they did.
Whatever.
I think it was a conclave where they killed
all
the representatives to see who would stay in the bunker.
The way that Octavia used that thing that she hated so much as like a weapon of her own is very interesting.
Yeah,
and using
sneaky.
Cooper at the center to do it was just like...
She's changed so much, and her view of what's right and wrong has changed so much. She just kind of uses wrong to get her way.
She used anything to get her way.
Yeah, she's very manipulative. I don't know if she sees the world in terms of right and wrong anymore. That's kind of what they're highlighting, maybe a little bit.
I mean, she's in the mindset of like you live or die, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Do
what
whatever it
everyone's
takes.
been thinking for like 6 or how many 4.5 seasons at this point,
Yeah.
and now Octavia's gotten this
I really like going back to Cooper, how we know her name already. Like, she's been in how many episodes? Like 4 or 5, maybe a little bit more. I don't think she's been in every one this season, but she's a great character. I think a really interesting addition to the cast. I don't know how long she's going to be around, but I think it's really cool that they've been able to build such a strong character in such a short amount of scenes.
I'm really curious if they're going to keep her on Octavia's side, because I kind of think that that would be a character that would easily dissent again.
After doing that, like,
After
really
already
early
having
on.
done it, yeah.
Well, a lot of people, I think Indra said something about her just being super loyal, and how it's like, well, you would side with Octavia, you always side with Octavia, in one of their previous discussions.
She was one of the first people to get put in the ring or whatever, the fight ring.
Apparently she's one of their best fighters now. Octavia said something about that when they were sparring.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I think she'll stay loyal to Octavia for a long time, maybe more loyal than Indra. But yeah, this episode's starting to drag on a bit. I think I'm ready to do my outro. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I've got links in the description below. That's all I had to say, and we'll see you around for the next one.